Nostalgia. My most precious Rosetta. The nightmares say that dreams cannot lie, but they have never heard the siren song of the dream of Myinnkyun. Do you like it? When I write my history of the settlement, I think that must be the opening line. The colony has let so many down. The princesses chartered Myinnkyun to spread friendship overseas, but all that came of that dream was 6 foolish idealists in a circle of mud huts, until Pedal Pusher realized that the Mergui archipelago lay outside Quillanese waters, but close enough to prepare the poppy draughts they craved. Friendship came the cry. Friendship and profit. And the scent of easy bits lured hundreds into our box trap, until the trade of poppy draughts to the natives for gemstones angered the Myinnkyun, tripping the trigger and snapping closed the gates of the city walls. Myinnkyun, they call this place. Pony Island. But we ponies huddle in our cage, waves lapping at our hooves, staring at the impenetrable jungle of the island proper, dreaming of the profit we were promised, dreaming of the friendship we're told we're spreading, as our neighbors vanish into the ocean in the dead of night. We are not being told the truth about Peridot's death, I fear. It is not that the Nocturne did not have their reasons to lure the loathsome shrew to where the Kelpie could pull her from the docks, but why would Peridot trust a Nocturne enough to follow one anywhere? I think there is some pony with a guilty conscience, and if the entire garrison is caught up in pursuit of the Kelpie responsible, no justice will be done. As disturbing as it is to invoke a scion of the Dark Princess, lest one of them listen and appear, perhaps Myinnkyun could do with a nightmare to uncover the truth. But then, what would my own dreams look like? Would they see me as I am, noble chronicler of history, unafraid to chase the truth an ocean away from Equestria? Or would my skeletons come tumbling down from 1,000 closets? That I married you for money, that I sleep with stallions on my many expeditions, that I falsified a discovery to discredit Deep Digger? Would some traitorous voice blurt out to my inquisitor that I find all Nocturnes abominations of nature, and judge the Dark Princess for twisting the body so of all 3 noble tribes? Would they smile a dark smile upon learning that secret and arrange a reason to cast the blame on me? That is the problem with dreams, you see. A dream cannot lie, but what lives inside may have precious little relation to the truth we are here to seek. With my deepest love always, Nostalgia. Andy quote. Murder! That's what comes of all this mingling. Mayhem, miscegenation, and murder. You turn your back for just one day and some idiot sailor is kissing a Kelpie. Then before you can shame him back home, she pulls a pony into the sea. Oh, of course I knew she would be trouble long before majority said so. It's a big, big world with 1,000 races who just don't understand our cherished pony values. Why, didn't you hear that just 2 days before Peridot was drowned, a group of tuft ears all but assaulted her down at the Common House? If you ask me, they're all in on it together. The guard should throw the whole lot straight into the stocks. Not that they ever will. Not after hiring one of them to keep the others pacified. And now they sit on their hooves as Myinnkyun scale the walls and Kelpies pull upstanding citizens straight into the bay. What do we even pay taxes for? Why isn't that layabout sunspot being held to account? Everything would be different if we just stayed in Equestria. But we're so far from Everfree that we can't even celebrate sunrise and moonrise when the princess is awake. I've a mind to leave on the very next boat and leave Myinnkyun to the savages and tuft ears. Leitmotif. I must leave on the next boat, I think. The first casualty of the Battle of Myinnkyun was my music, torn from my bow and launched like an arrow. And a fiddler's days are numbered, when his songs are no longer his own. 2 nights before she vanished, in the common house near the docks, "Play," cried Peridot, old eyes scowling, calling a slow ballad of love long lost. But the fire of the bottle was in shooting star, and he levitated me 2 bits, calling a march to stir the blood. Peridot stayed my bow, declaring that she would not see her taxes spent on such an affront to melody. So Hotspur trotted next to the guard and hoofed me civilian bits for a march. "I see how it is," Peridot told the Nocturnes. "The freaks stick together." And silence descended as she paid me triple to make the march iter solis invictus. I must leave on the next boat, I think. Or be the musician who played the song no pony wanted, the musician whose fiddle was in demand to make the others suffer. Shooting Star and Peridot glared at each other for the length of the tune. Thank the stars for Potluck, who next called Morag's Reel, and for Little Moth, stepping up to dance, drawing the gazes of the room like a lightning bug upon a darkened stage, golden eyes hiding among flaring fans of leather wings, and the streaming arc of her mane, until Dawn Patrol fluttered to her flame and revelry retook the battleground, pony and nocturne whirling together. I could not leave on the boat the morning after Peridot vanished. There was none. Neither will there be music, I think, until I fiddle the shanty to fill the sails, with Myinnkyun at my back. Cabotage. I'm cursed. It's a curse. It's the only explanation. 2 missing boats in a row, and now Peridot falls into the bay on a late-night walk. Not that I'm not glad the witch is dead, but suspicious suicides are never good for business. Never mind Majority and his talk of murder, whipping up panic to distract every pony from our crippling taxis. How can anyone believe his overheated tripe? The old witch once tripped over her front porch steps and accused me of sabotaging her storefront with my magic. She didn't need help floating off a dock. I suppose I should be glad he's not pointing the hoof right at me. A week after I shouted at the town meeting he should lower taxes just to shut the old witch up. And now she's gone, and I get a double share of Myinnkyun's import trade, which, let me multiply. Since the HMCS Pegafor and the SS Tradewind have both vanished into the Bromine Ocean, is 2 times 0, meaning 0. No income since summer sun, yet I still have to pay duties to keep the garrison drunk, while an army of sand crickets assault Myinnkyun's towering walls with chirps of song. I... Moonstruck. Damn Peridot for dying on the night that I bedded Little Moth. To have her sneak into my shack after the honoring of moonrise. To have her share my cries as our tangled bodies sung carnal hymns to each other and Our Lady Night. To pin her with my body until dawn's rosy muzzle peeked from the covers of the slumbering horizon as she clung to my drained form, as to anchor me from the calling of the tides. And then to have Hotspur dash in with the news that Peridot was missing, her front door wide open and her bed made. I recognized the panic in Little Moth's face, to be blamed for something you could not have done, based only on the fear in Pony's eyes. She knew she would be suspect, having humiliated Peridot by calling a dance and setting the room to revelry after the old witch called the March of the Sun to spite the nocturne there. I have heard that same arrogance from ponies thinking themselves kinder than Peridot for wrapping the hoof of intolerance in a velvet shoe. I have heard the lies that swirl out of quote and the gossip mongers when they think us out of earshot. I am sick of the look, sick of the whisper, sick of the job openings that vanish when I enter, and sick of the desperation that forced Little Moth to sneak back out my window and pretend away our tryst so she could be pure for the guard Pegasus who might keep her safe. Even though Peridot was drowned by a kelpie, they say we were behind it. That the monsters conspired to avenge the witch's insults. Let them accuse us. Let the guard come shackles and hoof. If they wish to oppress us, they will quickly discover what monsters we can be. Sailcloth. Oh, Sonata, how could it be true? How could the shining-eyed kelpie with laughter like sea bells and a muzzle, cool and salty with the sweetness of the sea, how could you? Where are the innocence and the endless curiosity and the boundless generosity and the delight at my gifts with which I fell in love? How could our memories, the taste of shared lotus flower, paid for by a sea melody, taught with patience in the stolen moments when the sailors left the docks for the confines of the common house, taught with patience to a wretchedly atonal pony, blundering through the harmony as your throat-shaped air sculptures, rich, ephemeral, enveloping my eardrums with a love as endless as the sea. How could they mean nothing? You killed Peridot! No, you could not have. Not my sonata, whose very name must be sung, so-na-ta. I know your song, sonata. It is curled around my mind, rich and sweet and innocent, and the memories of our laughter peal the bells of Peridot's funeral dirge. But you pulled her into the bay, they say, so the guard Pegasi flew to hunt you. I need to know why, Sonata. If we meant so little, if I meant so little, I cannot live like this. I will wait for an explanation on the still and silent docks where no boat has landed since the night of no moon. And if your answer is to pull me into the embrace of the depths until the air flees my lungs, then I shall be the next to die. Sonata Dusk. How could he? How could he do this to me? All I did was tell him I wanted more time. Like, he makes me laugh and loves my crappy singing, and his tongue is so warm, and he smells of spiced tea. But he's a unicorn. He can't even breathe underwater. How was I supposed to say yes just like that? He said he'd hire out on a line ship and earn big money as a trader and buy his own little island and we could share a lagoon. But, that's a lot to think about, you know? And I've never thought too fast. I needed some time. But I came back 2 days later to say yes, and he wasn't there, and he sicked the guards on me. How could he? Is that really how ponies are? All smiles while they get their way, and then murder you the instant you hesitate? The spear's barbs still scream above my left pectoral fin, near where I bit through the shaft when the Pegasi tried to pull me to shore. I dodged their nets and dove, trailing the thick brine of blood and the thin brine of tears. And now I hide in the grotto beneath Myinnkyun Point, until the wound closes and the sharks swim away. I'd better go see Adagio. She warned me about ponies. She's so smart. She'll know what to do. Majority vote. Cabotage is still talking of taxes, yes, even at a time like this. Well, it's only to be expected with the missing boats. I'll pressure Sunspot about them again tomorrow. The important thing is to keep the complaints from growing. One lone voice is a crank, but 2 voices equals a minority. Thank the stars that Peridot was the other loudest voice. Andy's all caught up in the drama over her murder, and I shouldn't have any trouble planting thoughts in her ear. I suppose the missing ships are a blessing in disguise, as ponies want a strong leader in a time of crisis. Maybe a speech to pull us all together, shaming those tough ears into pulling their load should be popular with the merchants. If the town seizes Peridot's estate, I can shuffle the bits to cover my debts and tell Sunspot to fire one soldier and lower taxes before the next election. That'll play well with voters. Though timing will be tight, I'll have to let the Kelpie scare fade away again, which means I'll have to keep Sunspot chasing the Myinnkyun and keep Panic at a dull roar. Spotlight. Chance smiles once upon the lucky, they say, and the second time upon the fool. I have thrown away my mahua bottles. Now is no time to be foolish. I was convinced that the Myinnkyun were wild foal's tales told to scare open the purse strings of the fat and lazy. Without the walls, they said, without the garrison, they said, the first Myinnkyun was found silent and gooded, absent even of corpses. From this and fables of minotaurs in the Tatooine came the new Myinnkyun, huddled on the tip of the island's south peninsula, 100 acres of surrounding brush, fired and plowed into bare sand, keeping the shadows of the jungle far away from our little lights. Why wouldn't I enlist for the watch? Pay to drink and gamble as the stretch of sand lay silent and birds trilled from the jungle beyond. But 2 weeks after the night without a moon, as I lay in my cot opening a bottle instead of pacing the wall, came a great shout from the rampart. When I dashed out, hastily buckling my armor, a minotaur was sprinting away across the sands, carrying a watch spear stolen from my empty post, and dozens of ponies were staring up at the wall, drawn by the commotion, whispering about what might be outside. Sunspot galloped up to demand an accounting, so I told him I threw my spear at an attacking Myinnkyun. Dawn Patrol said he came outside just in time to see the Myinnkyun run away, and so I escaped discharge for spinning tails with a drink on my breath, taking only a turn onto the lash. And now Peridot. I have thrown away my mahua bottles. To be foolish now is death. Yet my heart whispers that we cannot outgallop folly. How can a garrison save us when earth and sea conspire to bring a second end to the colony of Myinnkyun? We have built walls against the land, but we cannot hold back the ocean. Yulo Kene. I am a dedicated bull, Palehantu. When I caught you betting my brother and you ran from his hut, did I not chase you across the island to the realm of the Myinnkyun? Did I not follow you out of the jungle and sprint across the sands as you climbed their wall, even though the chief declared the four-legged ones Myinnkyun? Did you not believe that I would have pursued you into that dread realm, had not the Myinnkyun guard who sat up startled after you vaulted the rampart shouted and flung his spear at me? I snatched it from the sand as I fled from his fellows, gladly taking upon myself the curse of Darat Satu, and that is how you may know that I will follow you until the end of your days. I will wait at the edge of the jungle, eyes burning in the shadows, clenching the tainted spear, until you climb back over the wall, or the guards tire in their rounds that I may climb the wall again, or until I hear your screams as the Myinnkyun tear you limb from limb. How long can you hide, Palehantu? Your spirit does not burn like mine. How long can you hide? Dawn Patrol. Little moth dances behind my eyelids. Hooves stamping the rhythm of the reel, flanks swaying, tail lashing, until I close my eyes and she is ripped, screaming, hurtling through the void, sister bowing crowned head as her cries fade into the silent arc of the moon. I shove Little Moth from my thoughts and suddenly can see the mob behind her, the stiff and ghoulish form of Peridot holding a torch. I can't let them know. Screaming, hurtling through the void, sister bowing, crowned head. How could Princess Luna snap? Rumor is, Sexton said, she felt like ponies didn't love her. I guess that explains the night without a moon, when it chased the sun over the horizon, and we saw a sky full of brilliant stars. The light givers were warring over Equestria before Celestia banished her sister. Back in Equestria, Sexton said, the Night Watch and Nightmares rose up against the rest of the guard, and even the civilian Nocturne hoisted arms. Well, we've had enough of that here, I said. Not with so many dead of marsh fever. You'd better make for Mertaban and let the sickness run its course. I watched his ship come about and flew back to Myinnkyun to finish my patrol. Cabotage said he was expecting a trade ship from Pennsylvania, and I scared them off too. As soon as word of the war spread, screaming, hurtling through the void, they'll chase Little Moth, and I can't save them all. And I can't watch Myinnkyun turn on them, but I can show Little Moth the love Celestia could not show Luna. I can take her hoof as I did in our dance, as I do in our tender moments, in passing in the streets, and we can wing over the walls and brave the jungle. If we can make it past the Myinnkyun, we'll fly down the Mergui to the mainland. Just as soon as I get off patrol. Just as soon as I can get her alone. Peridot. How could I have lived so close to the sea for so long, and yet never have known this peace? Kelp curls around me like a lover's embrace, muffling Myinnkyun's murmurs. The tide cradles me, rocking the sun in its distant orbit, shimmering like a solitary gemstone in an endless sea. Silence surrounds, and I merely wish I had known that that was what I wanted. Little Moth. How can it be? They don't suspect me yet. I was so careless, but I had no time. I know they'll find her. They'll find her any day now. Where are the boats? Where are the boats? Tommy Rum. Feckin' pikers is all they are. Too good for us, unless it's to use us to fight for 'em. Pin a medal to your chest like the weight of the bronze bounces out the missing leg. Hero of the Poppy Wars, all the unicorns cry, then they walk right by when you just want a bit for another bottle to dull the pain. Always knew Peridot didn't give a shit about us. Calling the March of the Sun for the town's one night guard. Feck you too, you fat cow. I ain't one of the Nocturne, but us guards stick together. Spend a week shoving pig stickers into waves of charging killings, and see how far your taxes take you. It's just you and your mates on the line that bring you home. Feck 'em both. Gonna wake me up by tripping over me at midnight, stumbling toward the docks. Least the damn hornheads could do is share a bit for another bottle to get me back to sleep. Shooting Star. You! Who are you? Don't act so surprised. The night guard is trained to notice dream incursions. Who? Save your lies! Answer my question. Who are you? Feisty, aren't you? But you're not going anywhere. Can't say I was expecting a nightmare, on top of everything else going on in this stars-forsaken colony. Listen, we can do this the easy way, or the hard way. I may not have the skill to trace you from here, but I can buck in the door of every Nocturne in town until I find you. So save yourself some trouble and... Oh, no, you... Sunspot. I shouldn't say she deserved it, but Peridot deserved it. Complaining about taxes as if I'm not scrambling to keep every pony in Myinnkyun alive on a belt-strap budget. I laugh at how she was killed by the natives that she isn't paying the garrison to repel, if that didn't also mean that we're all downright fecked. The Myinnkyun have been watching from just beyond the firelight since we cleared the sands, but now they're on the move, controlling the Kelpies to kill us from within and stealing spears as links for sympathetic spellcasting to ruin our fighting force before the invasion. An island full of minotaur shamans, and what magic have we got? A captain 10 years out of shape, whatever crazy black magic powers Shooting Star never talks about, and that useless drunkard Spotlight, who no more fought off that Myinnkyun than I swam here from Equestria. I'd have him in a cell for deserting his post if his sire wasn't the mayor. With some reinforcements, perhaps we could wait it out, but I didn't act fast enough. I had hoped that killing the Kelpie in the harbor would prevent her from calling more of her kind for the Myinnkyun to control. But since they're already sinking inbound ships, it's clear. We've only got one chance. Press gang every able-bodied pony, march into the jungle, and slaughter the Myinnkyun before they can slaughter us. First thing in the morning, it's time. Rosetta. My darling nostalgia. Coy to the bitter end, I see. This is always the dance we do. Did? But we both know you are not to be pitied. You knew the nature of this dance when it first began. From the band's first notes, when they struck up The Colt Who Loved the Inquisitor, you knew this dance. I do not know what poor soul will find your missive while sifting through the ashes of Myinnkyun, or what she will feel when she does. Probably sorrow that this letter will never find its mark. She need not fret. She does not know us. To you, my love, I say confession received. I knew all already. I loved you still. The truth is this. We all burn with needs, my love, yours no more shameful than anyone's. A scout who'd ruin a merchant to prevent a war, a politician who'd foment rage to win an election, a dancer who'd conspire with a monster to hide her perfidy, and a golden kelpie lurking beneath the waves, basking in the rumble of an approaching storm. Rosetta I am called, for like the fabled translating stone, I open the doors of language. I know and understand the lowing of the Myinnkyun, the mad chitter of the protein, and the seductive keen of the siren. A convenient gift for my occupation. It is helpful to know the words of the dreams that I see, but I have also come to know that language is a trivial thing. A fine suit of clothes we wrap our needs in, so we can imagine there are higher and purer motives for them. So we can imagine we are more than beasts who feed, so we can imagine we are a greater thing than, say, a protein insect, nourished by the love of a Myinnkyun bull, who himself does not yet realize his mate is long dead, slain by the fangs of the very beast he lies with, who one day decides that while nourished is good, stuffed to bursting is better, and who does not yet know how the betrayal of trust can turn sweetest love into bitter, unpalatable hate, sending her fleeing through the jungle to the as-yet untainted well of Myinnkyun, where she adopts a new face and tries to pierce him who once pierced her with a far different spear. So we can imagine we are a greater thing than, say, a golden-eyed mare, nourished by the love of a sun-blind scout, who one day decides that while nourished is good, stuffed to bursting is better, and in her eagerness to taste both night and day forms a pact with the protein, little realizing how high the price would become or how deadly are the storms that rise from the beating of insect wings. So we can imagine we are a greater thing than, say, a siren, nourished by the gentle strife of a quarrelsome village, who one day decides that while nourished is good, stuffed to bursting is better, and who does not yet realize that a roaring bonfire of hate, while warm at the time, consumes all, and leaves nothing but cold ash in its passing. One death will fan the flames higher, she says, and taking a cue from her younger blue cousin, who seeks improbably to make harmony with the land ponies, comes to an old, troubled merchant mare, lured to the docks by the protein's friendly but stolen face, and with her song makes her want the quiet of the deep, smothering water more than anything in the world, more than life. So we can imagine we are a greater thing than, say, a night-colored princess, nourished by the faint praise of a job well done, who one day decides that while nourished is good, stuffed to bursting is better. And you can see where I'm going with this, I think. Everfree is in ruins. Even now, the Inquisition turns inward, trying desperately to find the distinction between those loyal to the night and those loyal to its banished princess. It is an impossibly narrow divide. I do not fancy they'd like what they'd find, should they turn their gaze on me. Therefore, I will become the smallest of poppies, complete my paperwork with a minimum of fuss, and not remark overmuch on loose ends. Shall I ever know how Peridot woke poor Tommy Run in the dead of night, and yet saw sun before the dark took her? Perhaps not. When all is about chaos, closure is more dear than truth. So, on the matter of Myinnkyun, I will write, colony destroyed by animal attack, because it is true. Because we are, all of us, attacking animals. The protein who fed on love, the siren who fed on hate, and everyone who fed alternately on both. I feel no guilt because none of it will matter. All will be ruined before any force can be mustered. The walls of Myinnkyun torn down, the Myinnkyun decimated, the two sirens swum away, one fat and gleeful, the other destroyed, and you, my love, lost forever in a literal pipe dream, regretting such little things. In a mind so full of burdens, I hesitate to add one more, but I will, because I too am a beast with needs. This is what I ask of you. Let go. Let go of all that weighs you down. Know at the last how small it all is. And once, one time before the coming of the dark, dream a little dream of me. Rosetta.